Hello, Grandpa Growth here from the General Zone. We have the return of ill-gotten games. Grandpa, where have you been? Where is my YouTube videos? Why do you hate everyone? All these questions answered and more. So what are we doing today? Well, we're bringing back ill-gotten games. So we're going to be doing more video content for the blog. So if you like watching Magic, if you like seeing casual formats, this is going to be a great time for you. I'm going to be doing draft videos, some Commander Constructed later on. What am I doing today? Today we're playing Pauper because I'm still working out some quality issues with the audio and the video and the recording. So I want to get some, recordings under my belt to make sure we can hammer out all those issues before we start doing some of the more meaty stuff, some of the exciting things that I want to get into later. So we're going to be playing some Pauper today. And I love Pauper. I've been playing Pauper a long time. I've been playing this deck. I'm playing Rats today. But I've been playing this deck since the bannings in Pauper. So when they banned the Storm cards and Cloud Post, that really shook up the format because those were two of the best decks. But immediately after that, this card was printed. Gray Merchant of Asphodel. Gary, as he's affectionately known. I switched immediately to playing Mono Black. Now, as it says, excuse me, the best two decks in the format, in my opinion, far and away, are Mono Black and Mono Blue. So you either want to be playing Delver or Gray Merchant. Those are basically your options. There are certainly other things like Poison, Mono Red, Mono White. You have like the Fairies version of Blue. You have big versions of Blue. The 5-color Auras deck. Tron. It's a wide open format, but I think these two decks are at the top of it. So I'll take you through my deck here. We're playing 20 Swamps. I've got a big version of Mono Black. I call this deck Rats because it used to be like Chittering Rats, Ravenous Rats. You're just trying to play 2-for-1 creatures. The small bodies are relevant in Pauper. A 2/2 is never dead here. But we're playing a lot of lands. Most decks are playing somewhere between 20 and 23. And my deck has Corrupt, so we want a lot of swamps, but I'm actually playing a 24th land. I've got the full 4 Barren Moors, because we want to be able to cast 5 drops and 6 drops regularly. But we can't afford to be flooding out late in the game, so I'm playing cycle lands to sort of mitigate that. Unearth is a great card against any of the attrition-based matchups. If they can ever kill any of your creatures, well, your creatures are all 2-for-1s anyway. Now you get another 2-for-1. For 1 mana, you get to bring back a Rager. You get a fresh card plus a 2/2. Excellent. Duress in the main deck. Duress makes a lot of keeps look very silly. Sometimes people just keep hands that they really shouldn't have. Duress kills it. Duress is very important against Bogles. It's live against Tron. It's live against Delver. It's live against the Mirror. It's great against Burn. I can't imagine not playing main deck Duress. We have the other 2 in the sideboard as well as the other 2 unearths, so we can go up to the full set of either of those depending on our opponent's strategy. If they've got more spells and more like grindy things, like more removal like that, we want these cards. Sign in Blood, one of the best reasons to be playing Mono Black. It's a 2-for-1 at 2 mana. You just draw 2 cards. It's great. Our removal suite here, I've got the main deck split of 1 Victim of Night, 2 Geth's Verdicts. Most people are not playing either. They'll probably have a Disfigure or Deadweight main deck. I don't have those. I'm preferring to play the 2 mana spells that are good against Affinity and Tron. So I want to be able to kill Ulamog's Crusher, Mirror Enforcer, a Metal Crafted Carapace Forger. These cards help you do that. These cards also kill Delver, flipped or unflipped, doesn't matter. So I like these removal spells. The split I'm playing is always up in the air. And you'll notice as I said, no Disfigure, and we have no Echoing Decay anywhere in this deck. But we have the full 4 Geth's Verdict and the full 4 Victim of Night between main deck and sideboard, and I've been playing around with the mix quite a lot. As I've played with this deck the last 6 or so, 8 months maybe. Full 4 Ragers. Full 4 Chittering Rats. This is the core of the deck. Your 3-drop card advantage creatures. You can't cut these, period. And the Liliana Spectre is like the 5th Chittering Rats. I would never cut the last Liliana Spectre because there's some decks that have, like, they'll put extra lands in their hand, and that's cool. So you want to put those lands back on top of your opponent's deck with Chittering Rats. There's some decks that are very light on land, like the aggro decks, and Liliana Spectre gets them. It's also a flyer that can block a flip Delver, so this is relevant. And you'll see a lot of mono black decks will have more copies of this. I only have the one right now, but I'm looking for, what cards are loose so I can bring back another Liliana Spectre. And that's really what I'm looking at right now is where can I fit another Liliana Spectre? Do I need a 24th land? Should I be playing Baron more? Like, should I be playing Swamp? That sort of mix. What removal spells? What kind of mix do I need here? Do I need Echoing Decay? Is that relevant? Moving up, we've got Serrated Arrows. Serrated Arrows is really important. It's just so good against so many decks. All the aggro decks basically just fold to Serrated Arrows. Their mini decks, like Flip Delver, Serrated Arrows not great against, but I mean, you can't really play it. It's colorless. Every deck in the format has access to this, and there's so many 1 toughness creatures, you can't afford not to play arrows. Full 4 Gray Merchants, absolutely necessary. Cannot cut this card. It is the most powerful card in the deck, bar none. Spinning Darkness is an excellent free removal spell. In a lot of matchups where your life total is relevant, this is very good. However, it doesn't hit non-black creatures. So that kind of sucks. Mono black is a very popular deck, so you can't afford to play the full 4 Spinning Darkness in the main deck. For matchups where it's important, we have the other 2 in the sideboard. We have 2 main deck corrupts. This card is pretty loose. We want to be able to take advantage somehow of our high land count, and the best way to do that is Swamp Corrupt. So these cards are probably the worst ones in the deck, and they get sided out the most often, but I still think it's right to play them. Looking at the rest of the sideboard choices, most of this is just filling up 4 ofs in the main deck. We only have, the 3rd Serrated Arrows here, but when you want Serrated Arrows, you don't really need 4. Like, how many arrow counters do you really need before they're just dead? Are they playing 25 creatures? Are they playing 30 creatures? Doesn't matter. Serrated Arrows to the rescue. Pestilence. You bring this in against Bogles or basically any aggressive deck. It's just the primo sweeper in this format. And you have all the swamps to take advantage of it. You can do as much damage with this as you want. I've even brought this in against bigger decks like Tron as a race tool, where you're like, just trade one of your life for one of their life. They can't beat it. Eventually they die to Pestilence. And with things like Gray Merchant and Quambai Witches that have lots of toughness, you can keep a Pestilence in play for a long time. So that's it. Let's go get to some games.